So I think the Western Conference is going to be pretty loaded next season because you can basically take the 8 teams that made it this year, or were going to make it, whatever, and then you can add the Blazers, the Pelicans, and the Warriors into the mix, and if you're determined enough, you might be able to talk yourself into the Wolves, Kings, and whoever else, right? The point is, some good teams are probably not going to make the playoffs in the West next season, and it could be one of those years where the 9th seed wins 40-something games, and I think I say that every year with the West, but I believe that's going to happen every year. Of course, you can never see injuries, but it's just kind of what I feel like, you know? I think the West is going to be really difficult, and I figure why not do a way too early Western Conference standings prediction for 2021, and some of this is also going to be like projecting what type of moves teams could do and stuff. And it should be said, don't exactly know if next season's going to start on time, and that, of course, throws a whole thing into this, but whatever. We're going to do it anyway, okay? Because what else am I going to do? For the 1 seed next season, I am going to go with the Warriors. You look at their starting 5, it's going to be Steph, Clay, Draymond, Wiggins, and, Looney or Wiseman, or there's a rumor they didn't really want Wiseman, whatever. The thing is, I feel like Golden State's going to have one of those kind of show you all what we're still about type of years, where they're just going to want it more than everybody else. And I think the energy that Draymond brings is going to kind of force them to do that. And I also think they're going to add some talent. I mean, they've got this $17 million trade exception. They have the Wolves pick. They've got their own pick. They've got other picks down the road they could move, although it gets a little dicey with protections and stuff. But I just think they're going to add talent in some way, whether it's through the draft or a trade, which, should help them out. And I trust their front office to evaluate talent and all that stuff. And there's a chance Wiggins ends up being pretty good as well for them. We don't really know with that one, but I'm going to go with the Warriors 1. 2 seed, the Lakers. They do have their draft pick this year, and I could picture them trading that along with one of their expirings. I mean, it's basically the whole team next year is an expiring to get someone. I think there's also a chance they could squeeze in some sort of a mid-level exception or a biannual or whatever, so that could allow them to get a little bit more talent on this team. There's also a chance that Talen Horton-Tucker goes into the rotation. He's been making some noise if you want to pay attention to the G League and all that. So that on top of, I think LeBron is still going to be pretty focused on getting through the regular season and not just skating by, which is what he did do sometimes in the East. So there's that. And also maybe next season could be the year where Anthony Davis takes like a lot more shots than LeBron does. I mean, I don't know. I figured that'll happen at some point. So that's for the 2. For the 3, I'm going to go the Clippers. It is going to be a weird season for them because now that we have this abrupt potential ending to this year, next year it's kind of everything for them. I mean, you're talking PG and Kawhi on 1-year deals, and even then it's a little weird because I feel like Kawhi just really wants to be in LA, so maybe they're just guaranteed to keep him, but it is still going to be wild nonetheless. As far as the roster, I mean, pretty much everybody's still going to be around. I mean, they're not going to have Marcus Morris unless they want to re-sign him to something, and Montrez is a big one. His is certainly interesting, but even if Montrez wasn't on this team, I feel like it wouldn't be a massive fall off for them. I mean, it might hurt, but I feel like they'd be good enough to kind of pick up the pieces. And there's also a chance they do keep them, depending on, where the luxury tax ends up and all that stuff. For the 4th seed, I'm going to go with the Mavs. We assume Porzingis will be back to full strength, and he was starting to get it going a bit. Their record with Luka was 34-20 this year. They were 6-7 without him. And I don't think Luka is some big injury scare, so just those two being at their best, I think, could get these guys at the 4th seed, and then you hope that these other guys just take some jumps, because I don't know if the Mavs have any big ways of improving. I mean, they have given up a few of their picks to the Knicks, and there are protections on those as well. So I think it does get a little tough, but if there really was some sort of a move out there, maybe it would be centered around Tim Hardaway's expiring. It's basically $19 million on 1 year. You could get yourself something for that potentially. So, so there's them. For the 5th seed, I'm going to go with the Blazers. I'm just going to trust that a healthy Blazers team around Damian Lillard is going to win around 50 games. I mean, Dame had an insane run at some point this year. I don't remember the exact time frame, but he does that every season. He has this 2 or 3 week stretch where he just can't miss on every 30-footer that he attempts. And we just assume, all right, Zach Collins, Nurkic, Rodney Hood, Anthony Simons maybe taking a little jump. The Blazers have their pick. I would love for them to make a move, but I say that every year, and they do little things, but they never really shake it up that much. But even with that, I just trust that Damian Lillard is good enough, and Terry Stotts is a good coach and all that, to where Portland could be the 5th seed. 6th, 7th, and 8th, it gets pretty difficult. I mean, I already said, to me, there's going to be good teams that don't make it, and the difference between the 2 or 3 seed and the 7th or 8th seed could be very few games, So the teams that I'm looking at, it's, the Nuggets, Rockets, Jazz, the Grizzlies and Pelicans. I mean, the stuff it's tough when you start getting to this point of the Western Conference. I mean, it's tough pretty much everywhere, to be honest. Probably go with the Rockets for the 6th seed. It'll be interesting to see many things with Houston. I mean, Windhorst has talked about how the Rockets owner or whoever it is, they're losing a bit of money because all their businesses are getting hit by this whole thing. And there was a Daryl Morey tweet, and D'Antoni's on his last year. There's a chance the Rockets have a totally different culture next year, and maybe they would just go back to the typical basketball team, and they'd get a big, and if one guy was going to be on the way out, it'd probably be Eric Gordon. Or would they just keep going with the small stuff, and would teams be able to adjust to it? Because it seemed like teams were already adjusting to it a little bit. They weren't setting the world on fire after that initial great run going small. So it's tough. But I am going to go with the Rockets for the, what would that be, 6th seed. I'm going to go Nuggets on the 7th. The Nuggets have managed to hold up regular season-wise, even if the team itself has, in a way, not gotten that much better outside of Jokic, in my opinion. I mean, Gary Harris has gotten worse. Jamal Murray is stagnant. I don't care if he's gotten better defensively. That dude's got to be putting up points. Millsap might be gone. Is Michael Porter Jr. finally going to play more? I don't know. But even so, Jokic is so damn good that he could carry him to higher in the conference. And again, when I say the Nuggets could be the 7th seed, I'm saying they could be 3 games worse than the 3 seed. That's the West for you. And then finally for the 8th spot, I'll probably go with the Jazz. I feel like they're going in a downswing. I mean, Conley is simply not the guy he used to be. Gobert was kind of bad for the stretch before the season ended. I mean, bad by his standards. He's still one of the better centers in the league, and there was the little rift rumors between Gobert and Mitchell, which I don't really buy into. I think they're going to be fine, but I got a bad taste in my mouth about the Jazz, man. This was supposed to be the year for them, and okay, they finished at the 4th seed, but their schedule was super light right after they went through those struggles, and I feel like if we would have gotten the rest of the regular season, I feel like they would have struggled down the stretch, or they had a round 1 loss, because they were setting up to play either the Thunder, the Rockets, the Mavs, and whoever. I just think the Jazz are going in the wrong direction. Donovan Mitchell is going up, and the team itself is kind of not looking great. I could do a video on Gobert's potential max contract after next season. I don't know. They do still have Boyan on a great deal, so we'll give them that one. So yeah, I guess that means I don't have the Pelicans or the Grizzlies making the playoffs next year, and I could be wrong on that one. I mean, maybe Ja Morant or Zion and these dudes just take huge jumps. It's just, I feel like even if I'm not loving the future of the Nuggets or the Jazz right now, I still feel like they've established themselves enough to be better than the hope of the Pelicans or Grizzlies making the jump, because it doesn't always happen. I mean, the Jazz are a great example. I mean, Philly is another one in the East where you think, oh, this is finally the year, and then it's not the year. So, yeah. But again, I also wouldn't be shocked if we had a couple teams have above 500 records in the West next year and still not make it. So, yeah. Again, to do one more time, Warriors, Lakers, Clippers, Mavs, Blazers, Rockets, Nuggets, Jazz, with apologies to a whole bunch of teams not making it.